American history is because suddenly everybody in America who is below rich, which was most people in America, were rolling their own tobacco cigarettes. That's where the idea of, well, we could just roll up some of this weed, and it made it so much easier once you have the joint concept or the reefer concept. We think that the word reefer came maybe from cannabis being smuggled across the Gulf states, across the Gulf of Mexico, literally in what were called reefers in Navy ships, which is a refrigerated car, which would be a great place to smuggle your dope. And it got applied to these hand-rolled cigarettes, which were then called reefers. So really it's the 20th century that has the smoking of marijuana as the bad guy.
One more and then we'll...
What's the dates on those Newsweek articles?
Yeah, I can show you.
Jill, my question is about the... over here.
The library.
Yes, okay, sorry.
That's okay. I got two quick questions. One is about, you said that the California finger guy and his cronies,
yes,
they wanted to put in the Harrison Narcotic Act marijuana?
Yes. There was a serious effort to put it in. So did Hamilton Wright, who was the chief, sort of the first drug czar, wanted to put it in the Harrison Act.
Why did they fail?
The pharmaceutical manufacturers objected because it was in a number of patent medicines at the time, cough syrups and corn remedies, and they persuaded Congress that it wasn't worth making illegal. So it wasn't a problem after all.
Was it talked about in the debate, in the floor of in the panel votes on the Harrison Narcotic Act? Was marijuana discussed at all?
Well, the word marijuana would not appear at that time in a public debate. It would be cannabis. And I think this was worked out in committees. I don't think it's in the actual debate, no. It's on the floor.
Thank you. And then the article you put up about the Mexicans, the very first mention, it said that they were rolling marijuana with tobacco.
Yes.
So that was already happening. I thought that was a European thing.
No, it's a Mexican thing. It goes way back. Yes. Was there another question there? Or no, was that it? Okay. Okay, well, it looks like we're pretty much on schedule with this conference. I think that's great.
Part of life on this planet, but you have to be sensible, you have to be a good neighbor, and you have to know your rights. So thank you everyone for being here to hear about this stuff and to spread the word back in your hometowns. Next is we have 2 DVD presentations over lunch. You're welcome to go out, get lunch, bring them back, just eat your lunch here. We're going to see parts of Smokescreen, which is a film that is coming out soon. The writer and director and the star are here, and we're going to see the Leap DVD. So you guys are welcome to hang out, come back, and then the next panel is 2 o'clock, drug driving. So thank you everyone, have a good time. And also fill in your evaluations at the back of your packet.
Marijuana recommendation, they rejected that. So one can imply that because they rejected it, in fact, they did mean to allow an affirmative defense for individuals who had medical marijuana recommendations. After all, Nevada has a medical marijuana law. That question was never raised at trial, and we hope it's going to be raised on appeal. The bottom line before I wrap up, NORML's principles of responsible cannabis use do not endorse driving under the influence of cannabis. We have quite a bit of information on that if you ever want to read it. However, America's principles of responsible government should not endorse the enactment and enforcement of unscientific, zero-tolerance per se DUID laws. These laws are neither a safe nor sensible way to identify impaired drivers. They are an attempt to misuse the traffic safety laws in order to identify and prosecute marijuana smokers per se. I think it's very important for us to bring up this point. It's very important for us to be aware of these laws. And it's very important for us to be proactive so that we're the ones setting the agenda. And make it clear that as a movement, we're also concerned about people who may be driving intoxicated, not only on drugs, but on alcohol, on prescription drugs, on all of these substances. But we are also aware that this is not the answer. This is an end run to go and identify, target, and prosecute individuals for smoking marijuana. This has nothing to do with drug driving. And like I said, as a movement, I really believe that this is the next major battle that we are facing. We need to get educated to it. We need to be in touch with our legislators about it. And we really need to kill these laws like we've done in Virginia and like we've done in a couple other places, like California this year in the General Assembly, but it will be back. And with that, I want to move on and begin introducing other members of this panel. To remote chemical analysis for Scotland Yard, the U.S. Army, and for state crime labs all over the country. We actually rely on Jim Woodford quite a bit to provide expert testimony in all sorts of cases. One of the very sort of clever, notable things about Jim is that he actually holds U.S. patents on many of the odors, the chemical, I should say, the odors for controlled substances. This guy actually holds the patent on those odors, and the law enforcement uses those to train drug dogs to identify drugs. And then he goes to court and explains why the dogs actually shouldn't be able to identify these drugs at all based on these odors. And he's actually going to talk about that today. He's going to talk about drug dogs, drug searches, and why, for the most part, they're ineffective. So I bring to the mic Jim Woodford.
Well, I brought with me a news article, April 1st, 2006. Spokane District halts use of dogs for drug searches. And there's a lawsuit going on up there. One of the reasons is they brought the dogs in to school, and they found that dogs were wrong about 85% of the time. They indicated something was amiss during searches. And I'm going to try to explain to you why the dogs miss about 85% of the times, and a lot of them aren't, of course. And it all has a chemical basis. Paul just mentioned about the cocaine odor patent. I discovered some years ago that dogs don't smell drugs, the drugs themselves. They smell odors that emit from drugs. And the odor that emits from cocaine, for example, is methyl benzoate. And that's my patent has been used by the government for U.S. Customs and the government for over 20 years. No compensation. And I want to try to talk about starting there with the methyl benzoate and bring it on up to ecstasy. Talk about the chemistry, what the dogs are doing, or should be doing, but aren't doing. And why it is that our whole dog use industry is perverted, if you look at it on a scientific basis. But I want to go back and work in a little bit of a constitution. I'm not a lawyer either, but I've got something that I think is a constitutional question. And it goes back to something I learned back in 1982. In a case that came, it's a federal appellate decision called United States versus Beale, B-E-A-L-E. And in that's when dog use really started to take off, 1982, with this Beale case. And it's a Ninth Circuit case. And in the Beale case, there are all the experts from the government came in and gave glowing recommendations for dogs. Oh, dogs are fabulous, they can do this, they can do that. And the court allowed the dog use. And but it's very interesting. I pulled up that case and I wanted to read a little bit from it because this sets up my topic here about the constitutional part. In the Beale case, that I'm paraphrasing from the dicta or the language from the decision. Drug detecting canine use is distinguishable from all other search activities because the only information gleaned from the canine's examination is whether contraband is present. They have experts coming in, so don't worry, these dogs only alert to illegal substances. And so you don't have to worry about it. So it's not like other searches where you come up with something later. But the court put this beautiful footnote in there that is the cornerstone of my talk today. Footnote number 14 states, our decision is expressly premised on this